The first point that I want to cover is the idea and the connection of spirituality and social action in the context of the ideas and principles of the Baha'i faith, because this is a Baha'i institution, and what I'm involved in, the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program, although it is not a program that is only meant for Baha'is or that there's any requirement of being a Baha'i, neither as the animator nor as a junior youth participant, it provides all the ideas and concepts and the understanding of how we conduct these what we do, how we serve. They're given in the Baha'i faith. So to me, as a personal experience and as my personal impression, social action is not a new idea. I mean, it has been performed for decades and decades now, and with various theories about it, how to go about it, but the general idea is the same: serving other people, doing social work to build our community and to better the world that we live in, to better the environment that we live in. It is also, connecting that to spirituality, is also nothing completely new, because especially in America, but also if you look into Europe, a lot of those social services and this social work is provided by religious institutions, with a spiritual basis. But I think what is really unique about the Baha'i faith is the idea of really systematized and organized action, really making a bigger picture of what we're doing and having that vision in mind when we go out and when we serve. Starting with the Baha'i idea of an afterlife and the reason of our existence on earth. In the Baha'i view, there are numerous, or I don't know, maybe even endless spiritual worlds of God, and us being on earth is only one of the stages of our development as a spiritual being. So we're more than just a body and just some chemicals and electrical impulses in our brain, but besides our physical existence, our body, we also have a spiritual existence. We have a soul, and we are here on earth in this world to develop our spiritual qualities, to develop our spiritual capacities, because we will depend on these when we pass on from our mortal life into the next spiritual world of God. And there's a really neat analogy, in my opinion, given by Abdul Baha, to kind of make this understood. He compares our purpose in life here, our development of spiritual capacities, of virtues like justice, love, fairness, all of that, to an embryo in the mother's womb who develops its physical qualities and physical capacities like limbs, hands, feet, all of that, ears, nose, mouth. But the embryo doesn't really know why it is doing that, or it doesn't have a vision of what is coming next. But it will, nonetheless, it will depend very much on those qualities, on those limbs, on those physical features to survive and to live a good life in this world. And the same way, we on Earth, in this lifespan, we need to develop our spiritual qualities, our social skills, so to say, to survive and to have a good life in the next world. What this really creates, if you follow this thought, of a bigger picture than just doing social work or social action out of maybe a feeling of I have to do it, or that is the right way. I mean, to me personally, I think all these ideas about spiritual qualities are really human qualities, and as a human being, we have to do our best to live in peace and harmony all together. So serving our families, serving our communities serving all of mankind, regardless of any ideas about religious views or class or gender or nationalities, which are all man-made concepts. It is really serving, and selflessly serving is considered worship to God, and it is developing these qualities. So whenever we're doing something, we're not only doing something good for others, but we're also developing ourselves. One of the key principles, and something always apparent in the Baha'i faith, is the idea of progression, of developing. Whatever we do, whatever we are, whatever we think about, it is always subject to be questioned, it's always subject to be reflected on. We constantly have to consult with each other to see what do other people think, how can I better myself and what I do in connection and in regard of what is happening around me. And so you can't really just pick little details, but what is really helping us doing all of this is a bigger vision of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So I think this is really neat, because it just expands our awareness and our vision of our life and why we are out here. So referring to the quote, I think the last line of the first paragraph, and I'll read this again, saying, why, and the question needs to be asked plainly, has society been impotent, despite its great wealth, to remove this injustice that are tearing its fiber apart? I think this just really comes down to we're such a developed species, and we have all this wealth, and there's a tiny portion of people enjoying all of it, but there's a really big and the vast majority is not being able to have this privilege. And what it then says, the second sentence of the second paragraph, what is called for is a spiritual revival as a prerequisite to the successful application of political, economic, and technological instruments. So this really, it means we don't defy political concepts or economic and technological inventions. Those are the instruments that we need, and the instruments how we will reach, well, more or less a perfect world, hopefully at one point, or at least a world where everyone can live peacefully together with equal opportunities. But it needs a foundation, and this foundation in the Baha'i faith is described as a spiritual foundation. As it says, it's a spiritual revival. So it comes back to life, and those ideas and those concept of being a human being, that it is to me, are just being revived, and they build the foundation to serve and to live our life as human beings in social interaction, in peace and harmony. But it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't just say, okay, you have to believe in God and you have to believe in this, and then everything will be fine one day. But it actually, the Baha'i faith has astonishingly created concepts and instruments that will help us, and that by studying these and making our own thoughts and investigating our own reality and truth, that will help us make this world a better place. And one of these ideas, as I said earlier, is systematized action. So service to humanity, this key point of worshiping God, is not just some random deeds of goodwill where we show our affection to people here and there, but it needs to be a combined effort. And the world is such a big place, and there's so many resources available all over the world, and the Baha'i faith is all over the world. So we have to really work together and combine our efforts and work together with all people from all over the world at a grassroots level, at the very essence of community building, at the very essence of living together and having this social interaction. And So the Baha'i faith, besides providing the ideas and principles, also goes farther and provides an institutional process that will help us combine all these different experiences, all the different learnings, to get them together and then spread those learnings out all over the world again, so that everybody can benefit, that everybody can study them, and we work together. And it's not just here's an organization and here's an institution and here's something and there's something. They're all doing their thing, which is good, but it's combining all of this and working together, and working in harmony, or at least that is the goal. But it's in my personal impression, this is something that just blew me off when I came here in the beginning. How all of these connections, all this just really well thought organization is being built up and making the world, improving the world already. And but at the same time, it is very key to all of this, and very, very important, that we always have to be aware of we're developing. We haven't found there's not the perfect formula. There's not this one way to go, and we haven't found that either. So we always, with whatever we do, we have to reflect, we have to consult with each other, we have to work together, we have to share our ideas, and we have to listen to other people's suggestions and ideas, and combine all of this to move onward